Pakistani Taliban survivor Malala Yousafzai won the Nobel Peace Prize last month. It was widely noted that she was an advocate of education and that her father was a headmaster at her private school. But British professor James Tooley believes the Western media ignored an intriguing angle on this story.
So Malala, okay, she's just won the Nobel Prize today, I think. And my interest in Malala, I wrote a piece in the British Spectator about this. She went to a low-cost private school. Okay? When people think about her defending education, actually the school that she was going to, which her father ran, was a low-cost private school, charging perhaps $2 or $3, $4 a month. Her father was the president of a federation of low-cost private schools. And the schools that she was attending are attended by hundreds of thousands of children across the world. And they're going to private schools because they don't want to go to the government schools. And the government schools, they feel abandoned. That's the word parents used to tell me about the state of the government schools. And so they go to private schools. So there's this revolution of low-cost private schools across developing countries. The John Templeton Foundation funded my research. Now that was a couple of years back. So we did research then in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and different parts of India and rural China. And since then I've done other research in other countries, and Templeton then came back and funded this latest research in South Sudan, Liberia and Sierra Leone. Because I did this research. Now people say Ghana, Kenya, India, you know, you're talking about the poor, but they're not the world's poorest. So they moved the goalposts. So I said, okay, what is happening with the world's poorest? And with the world's poorest, they are using private schools. We've tested over 30,000 children now in these different communities, and consistently the children in the private schools outperform those in the public schools, even doing the proper statistical controls to find out, you know, to control for background and so on. Now this is not even my data anymore. There's a survey in India called ASA, the Annual Status of Education Report. They say that in half of India's villages have access to private schools, these low-cost private schools. That's 300,000 villages in India. So the estimate is there's probably 400,000 of these low-cost private schools in India alone. So in the cities in India, think of it as being the substantial majority of children are in private schools, but that includes the poor. In Lagos, in Nigeria, there are 12,000 of these low-cost private schools. Karachi is absolutely huge. There are 3/4 of the children are in private schools. Lahore is the same. Pakistan it's huge. We've done a lot of research here looking at household incomes and the costs of these private schools. And we reckon that, you know, typically 3/4 of these private schools are affordable to families on the poverty line if they have to spend 10% of their total income on the education of all their children. So this is typically 2 or 3 school-age children. Okay. So it's 10% of their income. It's not, you know, they've got to be careful, they've got to scrimp and save, but it's not destroying them. Some can't afford it. You know, if you're an orphan, you can't really afford that necessarily, but many of the families can afford it.
Interesting perspective. You can read more about private schools for the poor and Dr. Tooley's research in Eric Schultzke's article online at national.deseretnews.com.